It's the Sergio Show! Hey, this is Sergio Dominguez, creator of the Sergio Show and star of the Sergio Show, and I make a lot of other things in the Sergio Show with a Season 10 commentary! Yes, this one was a fun episode, a great episode. Wait, this episode? No, by that I mean season. It's been a great season. This episode, Season 10. Yeah, as for the episode, yep, clip review episode, re-edited to a talking episode. This was an actual, character channel, live action special effect character channel that had animated videos from other artists. Decided to review that, but it didn't work. It wasn't that funny, and it was awkward, the jokes. So I'm kind of glad this was changed for something a little bit more simple. And I talk about, this one made sense for this season. Talk about series longevity of being an animator. And that worked both at the time and now, because of, when a show has like a 5-year mark and keeps going, that is always so interesting. Because people always enjoy, the early seasons, but once you keep the show going past 5, people are like, wow, you made it to that era, half a decade. How are you going to keep going? And sometimes you don't know, and everybody's used to it, always in a 5-year period. So, that's always the beginning of what could be a series longevity, and how can you handle that? Especially as a cartoon. Because cartoons don't age, yet the people who watch it do, and how do you deal with it? How do you, as an artist, deal with it? How does the audience deal with it? They just deal with it as, okay, we write it off. It's not good as it used to, but, that's a very understandable, very human thing. Everybody always has their thoughts on long-running TV shows, animated cartoons, but that's the thing with cartoons. They're meant to last forever. And it's all if the human being loves enough to stay with it as long as they can live, or you just let it go, brush off, but it will always exist because it is a inanimate illustration. So it does have this sense of immortality to it, especially if it is really successful and makes a bunch of money. Bottle of soda. Diet bottle soda. Excuse me. So what we have here, I think I still talk about it. I don't know if I have illustrations for it or graphics. I don't know if I pass them. I'm just focused on what I'm talking about in this episode, which works for Season 10. Even though it's Season 10, at the time the show was only around for almost 5 years. But this was part of my goal, and I was making it at the time. Now I can talk about history of the show. Now, Season 10. At the time, I did make this in the beginning of 2013. It was the year of the show's 5th anniversary, and I was looking forward to it. I'm like, yes, 5 years of the show. Cute amount of years, and it was part of my goal to make to 100 episodes by the 5th year, by 2013. And I was going to it. I was like, yes, 90 episodes done, just 10 more. And while I was at Season 10 and started writing the 10 episodes, I was getting into the infamous 100th episode. But I don't want to get to that because the 100th episode had such an insane history, but we'll get to it. But so at this point, when I got to Season 10, I was only writing 9 scripts out of the 10 episodes. Because episode 100 needed its own time, its own moment, its own thing. Because I did hype this, both myself and the fan base, hyped 100 episode really, really intensely because it was a big milestone, a big goal for me. I reached 100 7 to 10 minute or so cartoons within this amount of time. And I wanted the episode to be big, even though the show was only 5 years old. But it had a lot to it at the time. It had reviews. It was gaining an audience. By late 2012, when the show was finishing up its 8th season, 8 or 9 season, I was starting to get fan art. While I was making Season 10, I was getting a lot of fan art, a lot of attention. When I was more on social media, people noticed me. It was a beautiful time, especially in 2013, where the fan base was growing, and I was very happy about that. But actually, I'm gonna get back to that later because this episode's good. This one I finally wanted to make an episode where I had two of my friends, Juan and Neil. They haven't been on the show, especially in that episode 50 to episode 91, because I was on such a goal to make that many episodes that I couldn't wait for their recordings because they lived in different areas. So the only way I could get recordings from them is that they recorded on their own. I emailed them the lines. They recorded on their own, and they emailed them to me, which has been the thing ever since, even as season 15 and onward. But it's always worked. I just had to clean audio and edit, but we'll get to that too. But for this episode, I want it to be the first episode where two of my friends have met. We'll meet. Even though in real life they haven't met yet. Huh. No, if you notice, it goes from like crisp image quality to a little bit of a fuzz. I think I went back to the original animation files, re-edit some things, re-export them, and it came out QuickTime. So it would cut to QuickTime to a little bit of a compressed video and back to high quality, and that was part of the re-edited thing. Because this episode was also re-edited, I even had to go to back and change some animation things and cut some things. But this episode even edited came out great. Originally came out great. There was some great creative input with my friends, Juan and Neil. An episode like that was going to happen where they meet. No plot at all. I never wanted a plot. Just let us have a good time as friends. It's just relatable. People get that. So this was a good episode, and a good episode to put in within season 10. Good idea, great idea. It had to happen at this point, so good episode. It was just a lot of fun montage. There was a good joke that I made. I think we'll get to it soon because I think it was a good enough joke to make into it. We'll get to it soon. And I get to use the environment that I've made, which is, Funville, this fun indoor arcade area that I introduced all the way back in season 3. And yeah, I wanted to reuse it at one point, so good advantage right now. By right now, I mean at the time of 2013. A lot of cuts here, a lot of zoom-ins. That was a slow pan originally, of course. Oh, Neil played Hammond. My good college friend Neil did a great job with this. I'm glad I let him voice this character. It was a nice compromise. He wanted the character to be on the show, but if he played it, he'll be on it. But I think I can do an impression of Hammond too, but I'm not doing that. I don't want to voice the character. I could do a good impression if I wanted to of the character, but I let Neil voice the character whenever I can. He's reduced to cameo sometimes, the character, because of time. But when I let him voice it, he has a good time playing the character. I let him, play the character, of course. But I like the use of Hammond in that episode and who the character is. Yeah, it has less bustling, and you go to an indoor arcade, and what do you see? Bustling, people going this way and that way. So weirdly off episode, but
So let's get started.
Let's get started. Oh, I love that. Everybody's playing a video game efficiently, and look at me just flopping around. The claw joke was good. I don't know why I sped it up. I understand why. It was very slow. But yeah, I love that joke. It's like a powerful claw couldn't pick up anything, yet this noodly claw got all the prizes. Even they're both concerned. Was like, what is this? Laser tag. Yeah, laser tag. Oh, I like that one. Oh, I got cut in half. I'm trying to remember how I did that. And wow, I just disappeared out of frame. What was that? I don't think it was an edited thing because we're cut to like new animation. Something about that was off. I don't know why it disappeared in a frame. Well, I figured out now it must have been editing. Oh, I remember when I originally wrote this episode, there was going to be a conflict scene between the two characters. It was horrible. Oh my god. Originally, Juan and Neil were going to argue and fight over something very brutal and something too personal. And I was like, oh, do I really need recordings of this? They ended up giving me recordings for it, but I
Okay,
didn't like it.
everyone
It was
ready?
my fault. I wanted to write some tension for no reason. And I was like, no, that's pointless. That's pointless. I had recordings of it, but I decided to not use this. To heck with that scene. And instead, I just only kept one line from that scene, which was Neil complimenting Juan's hat. That's the only thing I kept. And this one, yeah, this one was fast forward. And Neil asked for this. Neil asked for, he wanted a scene where the vehicle flies away and destroys the building. I'm like, sure, yeah, you know what? I can do that. No problem. I had the time. Yep.
Well,
This was
that was
re-edited,
fun,
redone.
cool, and totally pointless.
Yeah, this was a good episode. I can't believe I remember that. Yeah, there was a scene that I can't believe I wrote, but it was supposed to be just conflict between Juan and Neil, but I hated it, and I'm glad it was one of the few things where I thought it was so bad I didn't want it in. Oh God, yeah. But it ended up coming out as a really good episode. This is also a pretty nice episode. Looking back, I really do realize I made at least good enough episodes. No, and I'm glad later on I can bring these characters back, even in pairs. Starting with the following season, I just realized that. I thought, maybe they won't appear that often. I think maybe there was a season post 100 with them, without them. But I'll see when I get to looking at that. But great episode. Good episode. Very great episode. The great of the good episodes.
Sergio Studios.
This one was interesting. This one was an interesting episode because while I was brainstorming quick and easy to make ideas to replace the review episodes, because this is a clip episode, review episode where I review this like live action sketch comedy internet personality, but he occasionally made cartoons or let other people produce it. But certain reasons couldn't make it, so I replaced it with something else. And I thought of this one idea because it's a lot of shots of me looking at something, and I thought, what if he's actually looking at something and it's something random, but I still have to improvise it. And I want to animate something, but it has to be quick and simple and something to the tune of what I would have made in that era. Something like that. So I thought of, what if I find this magical face, cartoon face that comes out of nowhere to talk to me? And originally, it was actually going to be live action. I had a green screen. I was originally going to somehow green screen my face, and cartoon me was going to talk to this character played by me live action wise within a green screen effect, and it was just going to be my floating green screen face doing this. But I was like, no, to heck with it. It needs to be done quicker. So I just improvised, and I just quickly drew a face, and yeah, I quickly drew that face in just seconds. I just copied the eye. I just made a couple mouth poses. I let the Toonbill mouth animation software do its work because it had to look simple like it was made at the time. Which at the time was, only mere 5 years ago, so not that much. This was made in 2017, the new animation, so it had to be simple. It had to be simple, quick, and it worked. This one worked. I actually kind of like this episode. It follows a similar formula, if I can pronounce these words properly, a similar formula to the show where random things appear for the character. Whenever he tries to start an episode, there's always something in the way or trying to do something. Somebody enters his studio. Like the fan art episode, somebody comes in. A couple stop motion specials happen like that. Yeah, there's a couple of episodes where people just pop in. But I always like that idea. Because sometimes I don't have like a good talk show concept or idea. And that shot is flipped. I wonder why.
Well,
I think I just improvised that. Well, yeah, that's a common idea for an episode. Sergio just starts the show, only to have it interrupted by something. It's something I kind of keep continuing to do, but the story comes out differently, always differently, or kind of it. Depends on the character and situation and what I wanted to do. But yeah, that one was so well done. Yeah, it was his face, told him his destiny, only to realize there was no destiny. Oh, the face was just a cartoon face. Actually, a pretty nice episode. That is pretty decent. One of the more decent ones, because it probably had a more creative idea than just me talking about stuff. And it worked for season 10 episodes. Like, you have something, upon you. What? Nothing. Bye. Yep. And it makes it go to the next episode's fun too.
Sergio Studios.
Episode 94, folks. Oh, this one was a fun one. It's the return of my stinky uncle. And it was a good one. This one was also fun. It was very meta. Well, kind of meta. Sort of meta. It's edited. There's like a scene that I had to cut. A couple of scenes I had to cut. Some things had to be sped up and taken out. But even as its own, it's still a good episode. Yep, my uncle comes back. I think he falls out of the sky. Well, the audio is pretty out of it. But I think at the time, I was still recording with the recording device when it comes to the audio. I never had a proper good microphone yet. So that's when the recording device was just... It was holding on, but the device connected to it was just... It was not handling well. You would hear noises from it. It would make the audio sound like that. Oh, I like this one. Oh, well, he starts with an episode, only to have it interrupted. Yep, my uncle. There he is.
You're back.
Later on, those tattoos will be drawn, but I already said that. But look at my crazy uncle. There's a upcoming joke that I really like that I worked on a little too much time on for something so simple, but animation does that to you sometimes. But yep, he's annoyed that he's here. And there's just a breaking point. And he realized, yeah, you're terrible, but we need to fix you. And that's what the episode is about. My uncle's a mess, and we need to clean him up. Oh, I love this. And people say I don't do hand-drawn animation. There's your hand-drawn animation. There it is. I remember I worked with layers on this. There was layers of tongue. That's why there's like holds to it, but I love the idea. I think I just improvised the tongue scene. And yeah, all this is like done forward and I reversed it. Yeah, I remember there was like one day of just animating the tongue. And it was just tongue. There were layers of tongue. That's why, yeah, there's some good holds in the tongue. And as for it coming back, it was just reversing the frames. It was disgusting, wrong, but so true to the character. At least the character in this show's universe. Something about it where the character almost writes itself. I did give him a short later on. But after that, I just want to give him a break. Because he's a great character, but, you know, you can only do so much with a Looney Tunes cartoon character. So I thought it'd be better to have him in more rare occasions. He had 3 good episodes. Yeah. It was one of the things where you had a simple character, but his personality so simple, but yet so entertaining that you can get mileage out of. You know, classic cartoon kind of setup. You should have reacted better than that. Like a little more rubbery. But, no, it's just fine then.
Come on, Uncle Polaco, let's go.
Some good animation came from the character. Look, you're dragging him off camera, by the way. Oh, I love that. I remember animating that. I was like, wow, this came out good. At least good by my standards because, yeah, look, flopping his arms. Yeah, that's when I also realized I should have redrawn the arms. At least, like, the upper arms. So it wouldn't be that shaped shoulder, even when it's, like, in that position. But also brought back Hernando and the Intune Barbershop. Yeah, this season did have some returns of locations. And later on would introduce a new location that people would love, and I wouldn't find a way to bring back. Yeah, but yeah, he said like Hernando's supposed to be a joke of nothing. Of just, yeah. I know the character is very off. You know, I didn't put too much thought into the character when it came to voice design creation. Do I regret it? I don't know. That's why I never brought him back, or barely brought him back. Yeah, maybe there might be a new barber. I don't know. I actually have no idea with Hernando. But yeah, didn't take that much seriously. Just needed a barber for one episode and brought him back just for the fun of it. He was a pre-existing made character, so brought him back to animating real quick. But he's supposed to be like a nice character, friendly character. You know, he is a barber,
Uncle makeover montage.
even though he's a little unsettling design-wise. Oh, I love the montage. This is where I could reuse animation because there was a recurring joke where he had to cut his hair, but he had stuff leaving in the hair. Look. Lion paw. I remember I drew that lion paw. It was funny. That one was funny. Some good visuals and jokes in this montage. Scrubbing the tongue. Yep. I'm not even doing the nails. That one was funny. Ah, you see, he does react. I love that card. That's very classic cartoon.
Well, it's been a montage and a half, and now here is your new and improved Uncle Bolaco. He's not that bad. And now to present him to the Sergio show audience in some kind of presentation. And I know just how to show it.
Now would probably put more animation to the face. Yep, it's cut because it was reference to a movie. You know, it was reenacted, it was parody, but I think I did cut to a clip of it. I ended up cutting that out. But it's really just them, yeah, in suits, they're singing. He kind of sings, but you know how I am with singing, so it is like a classic movie ballroom tap dancing song.
That's all for this episode of the
And it turns out he's just upset inside that he looks like that. He looks so clean and proper. So yeah, a little bit of a letdown that you didn't see too much of Clean Polacco. Maybe I'll bring him back, Clean Polacco. I don't know. But yeah, it was a way to show Clean Polacco in a funny scene. And I remember I had fun animating that scene too because it was like yeah, da, 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 da. So that's how the episode turned out. But liked the episode. Very good episode. Third solid Uncle Polacco episode.
Sergio Studios. It's the Sergio.
All right, next episode. What we have here is, yep, clip episode. And in the clip episode, I talk about another well-known internet cartoonist. And he is well-known. Sorry, I had something else in my head about something else. But really, let me focus on this episode again. It is an edited episode, but I talk about a very simple thing. Animated TV shows. And I love animated TV shows. When you're inspired something like that, it's animated TV shows. And did the episode get cut already? Oh no, this is a joke. I didn't know I made a joke about that. Wow, it's been a while. It has been a while. But no wait, I made this back in like, what was this, October? Yeah, in October of 2017. But I had to work on other shows and was going through things. But yeah, funny idea that I just ended the episode early. I do love that pose where I'm like on the side, being like, oh really? You don't say. I always love those when I do the original edited episodes. Review episodes. See that a lot with this show. Right. Sometimes animated TV shows have great episodes. Yeah, not what to say. Because even then I had to be careful what I said about TV shows. They're pre-existing, other created by own people. Properties, if that made sense. But like all the other ones I re-recorded and images, yeah, almost down to the home stretch with this. Because after that I had a couple other review episodes. Let's see. Replacement review episodes. But I love that face, the face of destiny. The magical face of destiny. Well, that's all I can think of for this episode of The Sergio Show. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you understand. After that, I do another time travel episode. That one was tough, but we'll get to that. Next one, another review episode, 97. If I talk about animated shorts, that's different. Another clip review episode. Yeah, this was jumbled. This was jumbled when it comes to the order. This would be a pattern, but instead, wait, was it a pattern? Yep. I put 2 clip episodes next to each other. 97, 98 were clip episodes. Only because I wanted 99 to also be a special episode. Even though that had to be reworked. Ugh. Yeah, I learned my lesson after 100, and that was make the episodes more original and be careful what you make. Cartoon-wise especially, because animation takes a long time to make, so it has to be worth it when you put it on, or else it becomes in some way a waste of time. If you make a really cartoon that you like, but guess what? It can't be shown. Oh man. But it happens. It's unfortunate, but I moved on, kind of, and at least this series still exists, and those certain episodes exist in some way. Still has my creativity on it somehow.
Another glorious time travel episode.
Yeah, the audio was not that good, the audio quality. At the time, I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't have any audio editing software. I didn't figure that out until I was done with Season 10, Episode 100. I was like, oh, this exists. And I'm like, oh, why didn't I do this earlier? Ugh, frustrating, unfortunate. What are you going to do? But this one, time travel episode. Ooh, this one's nice. No, by nice, I mean a mess. Because originally, he would go to the cartoons of the 2000s, but there's a part where he time traveled, but he actually didn't go to the cartoons of the 2000s. My mistake. Because instead, you know, him time traveling so many times did summon upset people, a couple of upset cartoons. Gosh, yeah, so he ultimately got in trouble for time traveling and messing up the timeline so much as a cartoon. So this group of other cartoon characters that pre-existed and had experience with time travel are all gathered together to punish him. To punish me, of course. And that was the episode. And one certain fictional time traveler was out to get me, and I had to stop him, and it caused a reference to the first time travel episode with a plausible retract button. But all that had to be cut. So how do I fix that? Because I just wanted to fix this episode. But how can I fix this episode? So I kind of kept the concept. I did keep the concept, but I had to simplify everything where he's stuck in the time stream, he's talking, he's somewhere else, and he's talking to this ominous being of time travel. And that's how he gets fixed. It's like he's still in trouble for time traveling a lot and maybe the space-time continuum, but it's much simpler, much more ominous. The character he's talking to because it's off camera, ominous. And I had to use a lot of editing effects. So a lot of characters were not there and replaced with just background audio recording with me. So it actually worked. Simple episode. Too simple because of how it came out, but still a comprehensive episode. You can understand. He time travels one more time, gets in trouble. The ominous voice tells him to fix it. I have something to fix it with. I fix it. It's fixed. Simple episode. It's just, it looks like he's been through through some creative filters. Had to do it quick, simple, and that was the best I can do for one of the last. Not the last, but one of the last time travel episodes.
Sergio Studios.
All right, episode 97. What we have here is originally, again, another different internet animator that I reviewed his cartoons on because there's some good cartoons. So I joked about it, but changed it to me talking about animated shorts. You know, everybody does animated shorts. Back then, animated shorts were in movies, theaters. As a kid, I never knew this. It was like, oh, okay, if they're shown on TV, they were made for TV. Wait, they show these in front of movies before the movie? How do you do that? And this is me drawing a really quick and crude version of myself. Look at me, being so quick, being so crude, being so myself. looking at a quickly drawn screen. I think I reused that screen a couple of times in the episode. I don't know in the series, but this is me just like fixing everything together with like cartoon tape. Tape! I love tape! That's me. Yep. A lot of reusable animation. Yeah, it's like I summed up like a brief history of this, which is obvious. I like that drawing. Yep. Film reel through television. And I think I used that same TV somewhere. What are your thoughts on the re-edited episodes? I know they're not good. They're not positive. But I just want to hear you tell me what's wrong from your perspective. Other than I held you back from the original episodes. Some of them were part of its time because even though a lot of these episodes were from the early 2010s, we're already looking at that era as an awkward era. Like, oh, remember when that person was famous in the early 2010s? And everything was a product of its time of that early ass time period of the early 2010s. That's the thing when I look back at this. I'm like, God, that was my mindset in the early 2010s. Really? Really? Nowadays, at this moment, we're a lot more self-aware, and we're in the late 2010s, on our way to the 2020s, as of this recording. Amazing, insane. But it happens. It happens to all of us. So that's why I kept it simple and kept it. Hopefully, it will be more relevant when you watch it. People will be like, why is the episodes like this? A hidden history. Oh, could it be? Could it be? I think I'll talk like this for the next episode too, because the next episode is a clip review episode. Because yeah, I think that's why. Because I wanted 99 and 100 to be written episodes. Well, 100, we'll get to it soon. It's episode 100 has such a history. It might get into season 11 because episode 100 has a big responsible part for season 11, but we'll get to it. All right, episode 98. It's a review episode of a short-lived animated internet series online, which, was internet, online, and animated. But I changed that to animated feature film. Yep, that was the same one. Same image, different text. So that was the episode. Let's see. When I was uploading all these episodes at the time, they were huge. Yeah, season 10, I made a big mistake with season 10 early on. What the biggest mistake I made with the series, with season 10 especially, was that like I said before, throughout the period where I was uploading these weekly, with season 10 I did not upload the 9 out of the 10 episodes weekly. Since season 9 was already finished released before April, when all the episodes of season 9 were done and season 10 was coming up, what I did is April was the month of the show's 5th anniversary. So all throughout April, certain days in April, I would upload all 9 episodes in various days. So instead of waiting an episode of season 10 every week, you get it every couple of days. Like episode 91 came out early April. Instead of waiting 1 week, it'll be like 3 days later, a new episode. And then, 93 would come out a couple of days later instead of a week or so. And yeah, I decided to upload all 9 of the 10 episodes within April. because I was trying to commemorate the 100th episode, but at the time, episode 100 wasn't done. And by the time the show officially turned 5 years old on April 27th, 2013, the 100th episode was not ready. It was far from ready. Far from ready, even though 99 episodes have been done and already uploaded. Already uploaded. So if I uploaded, 9 out of the 10 episodes weekly, and it went from April to early June, the 100th episode even then wouldn't be ready to come out. A lot of work had to be done with episode 100 at the time, but we'll get to it. But yeah, I remember season 10 had a historical moment. But when I uploaded episodes from season 9 and 10, especially season 10, views for it were fantastic. They were high. Like I said, there was a dry spell of views where it was only like a mere 200 or less views a week from episode 4 to episode, let's say 81, 90. But by episode 91 onward, because not only I grew a fan base, but the fan base and the people who heard of the show knew I was reaching the series to episode 100. So, and it was an interesting time because that many episodes for an animated internet series like this, that's barely heard of. It's barely a big thing. And I was tackling on this feat, and I was happy about it. I was excited. Yes, I'm getting close to the 100th episode. Oh my God, my series is finally getting an audience. Everything is just going great. And that time in 2013, people supported me. I had fans. I had like really active fans. I got so much fan art. It went from like 1 or 2 fan arts to a bunch of fan arts from a lot of well-known internet animators that have heard of me, which is such an honor. Such an honor. They're all talented, and they've heard of me. Just having them hear of me is one thing, but them taking the time, these creative, artistic people, talented people giving me a drawing of me in some art form it was amazing. It was beautiful. I remember I spent just a good day, just printing out fan art and putting them on my wall. And that was the time where it was a long hiatus from 99 to 100, which I was still working on because the 100th episode was a big one. So am I on episode 99? Yeah, episode 99. So episode 99, I actually just sing a bunch of cartoon intros as a way to just excite people to episode 100. And that's pretty much it. I can't say more. So I want to talk more about the historical significance of season 10. Season 10, great season, especially when it came to views and reactions, and everybody was excited. Everybody was looking forward to it. There was hype. And the problem was, up to episode 99, the episodes were done. Episode 100, which people were excited for, so excited. It was so hyped. When I joined more social medias, people were like asking me that episode, and people were looking forward to it. I was getting so much attention because 100 episodes, again, for an animated internet series just made by me, was such an incredible creative feat. It was such a unique thing, and it was such a great goal I made. I just wanted to see if I can do that, and how people were looking forward to it, and that it was done. It was insane. God, just a lot of memories of this time in 2013. I don't want to say it was the golden age. Well, you know what? It was the golden age in terms of popularity. Yeah. Productivity, no, because all that was in 2012. Because in 2013, I only made 10 episodes. Because of season 10 and how long episode 100 took. It was just a golden age in its fandom. And my God, after that, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Oh, gosh, wow. But yeah, I was excited too. I was like, I gotta make the 100th episode. I can't wait to make it. Even if I was like just getting so exhausted, there was a point where I just wanted a break after making 49 episodes in like less than a year or so, less than 2 years. Yeah, I decided to reuse me singing for a scene, but because I signed off on the episode, so might as well just keep that and just dub over it. But wow, it was magical at the time, and I'm still trying to regain it, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, and we're on our way to episode 100. Oh, I'm so excited to talk about this. Here we go.
Sergio Studios.
Here we are. Episode 100 of The Sergio Show. Whew. Wow. Let me start with this. I've been thinking about the show's 100th episode for a while. I knew the show was going to reach 100 episodes just on my own willpower alone. I was like, will the show make it? It will make it, and then some. I had the confidence and creativity to keep the show going. The thing is, what would the episode be about? And I just had so many ideas for episode 100. Since the show was already established at the time of what could it be, I was like, let me add everything that's well known about the show at the time. A review of animated internet cartoons, a bunch of song parodies, and even a big storyline, a very big storyline. And I started finally working on it pre-production wise in the beginning of 2013 while I was also working on season 10. And by the time I was done to episode 99, I was like, yes, I can finally fully work on episode 100. Let's do this! And it was so much writing, a lot of storyboards, a lot of writing. Marilyn reprised her role. Not only she reprised her role, but I made her act 5 years younger because she had to sound 5 years younger for this episode. And I used the old digital puppet characters from episode 1 early on. I still saved them, so I got to reuse it because I always wanted it to start off with a little 1-minute prequel to the first episode of the show. Because I thought that was a good idea and to make people feel like, wow, this show really came a long way after just, at the time, 5 years and 100 episodes. You know, it needed to feel grand, glorious, like you've been through something. And you reached it, and it's extraordinary, and it's epic, and there's built up to this. There's like, wow, I can't believe how it started and what it's become. You know, it needed to have like emotion, like you've reached a very special finish line. Now, yeah, the episode, when I finished storyboarding, it took 5 months. At the beginning the beginning of January, and I finished storyboarding by May. But the episode wasn't done. Obviously, it wasn't done for the original release I wanted, which was the anniversary of the show, April 27th, when the first episode came out. It came out April 27th, and I wanted in the year 2013, but I didn't make it. I was so busy, and I didn't make the release date. And it needed more work. It needed a lot more work because it was feature length. Originally it was feature length. It was like an hour and 20 minutes. With the segments I talked about, the reviews I talked about, the song parodies I talked about, and the storyline, that it became too much. It became too much, and I ended up having to cut back. The reviews episodes I had to cut because it just wasn't good, and I was starting to get aware about a certain website's copyright system, so I just like, no, can't make it. I don't want it to be cut. And it was just getting too late into the year. I was still working on it. A lot of writing. I had to record so much. I kept the song parodies and the storyline. Did recordings for those. I think I did recordings for something else, but this episode had a lot of work. It was like the episode that took the longest to make, 11 months, but it was an amazing episode and a special episode. Of course. It's one of my favorites, just on experience. Even though this episode ended in tragedy a little bit, but there was so many good things about the show, about this episode, because it's grand, it's epic, it's passionate, it's an achievement episode. Those have like the most heart, and it's the kind of episode that is a big I love you to the fans. Milestone episodes get to do that. It get to be so self-indulging because it achieved something. It's a solid number of an episode. It's a magical number for an episode. For the characters, for the series, for the fans. I'm just talking about it so much, but it really is. This episode had to really, really come from the heart. Every episode has to. But milestone episodes are so special. They also remind you of it. Originally, those fireworks were pictures of them, but I had to go back and redo them. And I wanted to add some hand-drawn animation because that's what the fans wanted. I couldn't do it all the time, so I took advantage because it's a special occasion. Took a long time. It wasn't the best, but I did it. I wanted the animation to be exciting. But animation-wise, took 2 months. Out of the 11 months, only animation took 2 months, while everything else had to be prepared. My fans, the characters over the years. Yeah, there was a point where all the people gave me fan art. I decided to draw them as a character, and I decided, I'll put them in the audience. Yeah.
And also some fans are in the audience too.
You're welcome. Thank you. Sorry.
We have a great episode for you guys. Let's begin.
So, it is amazing, but originally it was so much longer. It had more to it. And it was going to be almost like feature length, but I had to cut everything. So ultimately what I just kept were the song parodies, a couple little moments, and that was the episode. It ended up being 21 and a half minutes long. It's one of the longest episodes. It's the longest episode made, and one of the longest videos I've made. This was heavily edited because I used cartoon likenesses of other internet animators, but I didn't want to get in trouble, you know? Hammond's cameo. Yeah, this is a song parody, and I wanted, more artwork on it. I wanted more energy. But I had to redo it as a storyline, not as a music video. So it's just me talking. Love the joke, though. That was a good joke. That was a good joke. So, yeah, originally there was a story arc to this episode, but I ended up cutting it. And instead of throwing it away, the story was so long that I decided to use it as season 11. All I had to do was just make the whole video, cut it up to 10 pieces. You see hand-drawn animation. Really creative moments right here, but yeah, it was a song. I liked the look, but it had to be done quick. But there's a lot of nice visuals, and it had to be fast forward because it's just... But I didn't want to throw any of this away. Good shot. It is good, the visuals. Too bad it's like really out of context.
And there you have it.
But it's okay.
The 100th episode
kind of. The people who originally saw it, my god, it had so many views. Oh my god, but let me first, so whatever was left over, which was the story arc, ended up becoming season 11, just made the whole story and split them up into 10 episodes, and that was season 11, but I'll get to that next commentary. But when this episode finally came out in November of 2013, everybody lost their minds in the best way possible. Everybody loved this episode. It was one of the most watched videos I've ever made. Not ever made. I've ever made. But just saying something. Thank you for all the fans, actually. Thank you very much. Yep. It's been a crazy season. I love it. But this episode had so many views, everybody loved it. It ended up being one of the biggest videos I ever made, but some unfortunate thing happened for next season, but I'll talk about it more next season. Thank you for watching Season 10 of The Sergio Show. I'm Sergio Dominguez, saying have an animated day.
Sergio Studios.